Hello, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of ReRacked, the only Snooker podcast where we are all very tired, so please bear with us. Well, two of us are anyway. Don't know how Glenn is, but I'm Phil,
I'm
amazing
tired.
your host, with Glenn and Catherine again. How are we both?
Good, yeah. Doing well.
The aforementioned weary.
Well, you've got an excuse, Catherine. You work very long night shifts.
Thank you. You're very kind.
So, there is a tournament going on at the moment. It's called the English Open. You may have heard of it, but we are not discussing that this week. The main reason for that is the final is today. So there's no point discussing it when we don't know who's won it. So instead, we're going to discuss that next week. This week, we're continuing what we were doing last week. This is part two of Snooker Plays in One Word. And we're going to start off with Gary Wilson.
Geordie. He's the Geordie.
Yes.
It's not. I don't think he's not the token Geordie, is he? Because we've got Sless as well. But
Yeah.
he's an absolute dude. Is Gary, isn't he? He's great.
I think he'd be another one that you'd describe as inconsistent. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know, he kind of shows up some weeks and then other weeks you just don't know what you're going to get with him, to be honest.
I think game wise, he should be very much in the top 10 easily.
Yeah, exactly.
Like he got, he went deep, didn't he, in the Worlds a few years ago, and you sort of thought, oh, hello,
Yeah.
I don't think that. I mean, obviously, you can't fluke a result like that, but I think that he didn't quite press on. Although I think maybe the pandemic didn't help. But I was so happy when he won the Scottish. It was just amazing.
Yeah, I mean, Gary, look at his running Worlds in 2019. I don't remember he beating qualifiers, but even in the main tournament itself, he beat Luca, Selby, Carter, and then people said to me he did actually push Judd quite hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder is he playing much pool at the moment? Because I know he did enter a couple of pool tournaments. That was probably in the off season of snooker. So I don't know how much he's practicing at the minute. So what's his plans?
Yeah. And my word for him is Mohawk, because one thing Gary all can think of is that green reverse Mohawk he had.
Yeah.
You're one that maybe start calling Gary the dinosaur.
Oh, bless him.
It wasn't the best haircut, or to be fair, it was at least unique.
Yeah, unique, very unique.
Well, yeah, I don't think there's many players that even think about that, let alone be able to pull it off.
Probably
Yeah.
not. Anthony McGill.
I,
It's a tough one, this.
It's
it
not.
is.
I've got one. I'm just like I didn't want to like just jump in first. So,
Um,
but it's kind of two words, but it's like it's basically like the Crucible, isn't it?
yeah, that's what I
He
was
is
Yeah.
thinking.
the Crucible. He's not the king of the Crucible, obviously. He can't be the king of the Crucible, but I think he's one of the princes or a duke of
Yeah.
the Crucible, because
Yeah.
he just every time he goes there, it's like, I mean, he's had to qualify to get there, and he'll still, cause absolute chaos. And there's just something about that place and him and that format. I think it's possibly more the format, but obviously, he's obviously very inspired by being there as well.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean,
like,
basically,
it's mad. A lot of players would be a lot of players would be the complete opposite. That when they get to the Crucible, that um they just wouldn't perform. But he's the complete opposite. He's always very good, very dangerous in the crucible.
Yeah, it's
I
funny
think it
because
would be. I think it would be a travesty if he didn't ever win it.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
Because this year, you really wouldn't have expected him to what be a frame away from. I think he's a frame away from semi-finals because when you look at his journey through the qualifiers, he was something like 2 down, 3 to play against John Astley.
yeah.
I remember that match.
Didn't we watch him at the qualifiers, Phil?
Uh,
Did we?
no, I
I
was
think.
watching Jack Jones and Barry Hawkins.
All right. Okay.
But I saw some of that match on television, and Astley is absolutely brilliant. But the last 3 frames, McGill was close to unplayable. He just found something,
Mm.
and that's Anthony McGill of Crucible. Really, I think I would have gone with Crucible
Yeah, me
because
too.
he just finds something there.
Yeah.
He's also like one of the nicest guys on tour, McGill.
Yeah, he does seem very popular.
Tom Ford.
Tom Ford's a tough one to describe. I think he is maybe improving. You could describe him as so just looking at his ranking, like he's 22, or I think he's the highest that he's ever been at the moment.
Yeah.
So maybe the older he gets, he is getting better each year.
I went to York and he was in the Q zone and he was doing like a Q&A and it was just honestly he's just the most. I can't decide whether he's laid back or whether he genuinely is not one bit asked about it. He's so casual in how he approaches his game. He has this love-hate relationship with it.
Yeah, I was there when he was doing that Q&A as well, and he got the feeling that he just wasn't bothered, or like it wasn't the end of the world how it went.
Yeah. It was very funny and it was
Yeah,
just it was just so it was quite in a way it was sort of refreshing, but in some ways I was slightly worried about him. I was like, are you
Yeah.
sure you shouldn't be doing something else? It was like,
yeah,
but he's so talented that it would be, he has to be a pro.
I've got a couple things I'd like to say about him. Underachiever, certainly, because with the amount of talent he's got, the fact that he's never won a ranking event is absolutely criminal.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. Didn't he offer someone in the crowd out last week? Didn't
he
he?
threatened to knock
Oh
someone
yeah,
out during his match with Hugill.
yeah.
I'm not sure if I'll word for him. I don't think thug is fine, but I think he's like the enforcer or something.
It's difficult to describe Tom Ford because he's got this weird personality where half the time, as you were saying, he seems completely laid back, almost to a point of being horizontal. And the other half of the time, he's very not combative, but he can be a bit
I don't
ill-tempered.
know. I think that's probably a good word, actually.
But I really do feel like Tom's seriously underachieved in his career, considering the amount of talent he's got.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I don't know. I have a horrible feeling that he might be one of those players that when he retires, we look back and think, oh, he should have done this and he should have done that. And I hope I'm wrong, but
Yeah. Stuart Bingham.
Bingham, I would always like as soon as his name's mentioned, I'd always think of break building or
Hmm.
like making centuries. Yeah, I think when he's in full flow, he's as good as anyone. I think in that side of his game, he's brilliant at making breaks.
But one thing that comes to mind for me with Stuart Bingham, maximum. He's got about 7 of them.
Yeah, yeah,
For someone who isn't generally regarded as one of the true greats of the game by any means, the amount of 147s he has is absolutely ridiculous.
yeah. It feels like when he gets in, he's always got a chance of making a max, but
Yeah.
obviously that doesn't happen. But yeah, it's very good at that side of the game.
My word is underrated. I think he's probably the most underrated player
Yeah,
actually on the tour, if probably actually, because I think
Yeah.
you look what he's done. You
mm,
look at, I mean, not just the 147s, he's a world champion. You know, he's look at what he's won. It's just in, you just think, how is it that when we talk about winners of, you know, the Crucible or the UK or the Masters or whatever, and you just think he should always be in that conversation, and he so seldom is.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, he's just, and he's also the person that, because of him, I know what TikTok is. He's just, yeah, very, very, very funny. I used to
Look,
get
I'm
sent.
still not brave enough to try and discover TikTok.
I think I'm too old for TikTok, so I'm fine. But I'm very, yeah, I've sort of discovered what it is. I haven't got it, but people send me stuff all the, you know, with it on, so I think it's fun.
But yeah, very underrated Bingham because on any given day he can just turn up and absolutely bludgeon anybody with break building. We've seen it time and time again with him.
Yeah,
Ricky Walden.
Ricky Wall. He's kind of like an understated, or he's very low key the way.
Mhm.
I don't think he's not a flashy kind of player. He's hard to describe. Yeah, low key maybe.
Yeah, I think he's another one who doesn't, you know, I think he's in that pool of that's not gonna he's not going to be pulling up any trees, but he's also not. He's always going to be able to have a say in who will win. Because I think when he's on his day, he will beat anybody.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think, yeah, it's been as he's sort of done. He's managed to string some decent results together the last couple of seasons, and I think that's been really good to see.
I think mine will be graceful. He's still got this graceful, slightly deft touch in the balls.
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, I think that's probably fair to say.
I just love watching him play.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, he's very watchable. He is very wise, but he's one of those that's probably likely kept me awake past my bedtime anyway, put it
Sorry
that way.
about this. Not on Sankam.
So everybody loves Noppon, don't they?
Yeah.
I think like
Yeah,
he's like I can't really say one word. I was gonna say the word pet actually, because he's so cute and so sweet and lovely, and everybody just loves him. And like whenever you see people go up to him, like I've seen people go up to him when he's been at the shootout, and everybody just wants to give him a hug. Do you know what I mean? Because he's just so nice.
Yeah.
yeah. Like I think I describe him as likable because I think that's exactly what he is. I think
Yeah,
everyone kind of
I
likes him.
would have said lovable. He's one of these people who's impossible to hate
Yeah,
because he's just so mild mannered, so respectful.
Yeah. I mean that's their culture, isn't it? You know, they
Yeah.
are by nature the Thai's very nice. But yeah, I just think he's just I think he's not ever going to be a divisive figure, is he?
No.
Let's face it. And I think
no,
when he's playing most of the time, unless he's playing your favourite, you're going to want him to win.
yeah,
Exactly. It's not like you want him to win for any real reason other than you just have to like him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And likability goes a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is going to be a fun one. Dave Gilbert.
I was just saying to Glenn, I think I've got about 20 words to describe Dave Gilbert.
I've got about 50. I'm not sure how many of them are nice.
I absolutely, he's one of my favorites. I love Dave Gilbert, but my God, he drives me mad.
Yes.
He's maddening. He's like, I mean, I've watched him successive years at qualifying for, the World Championships. I've watched him at other, bigger tournaments, and I'm like, you should be right up there. You absolutely should be, you could have, I mean, 1 year, he literally could have been the world champion, couldn't he, 1 year? I mean, he was just brilliant. And and then other days he turns up and I mean, I'm not saying I could do better, because if you've ever seen me hold a cue, you'd know that was a lie. But, I'm just saying I might as well have turned up. Do you know what I mean? For all the worth it. It just, sometimes I worry about him. Sometimes I just want, is he okay? Because I really, really want him to be okay, because when he is okay, he's fabulous.
Yeah, I think I describe him as frustrating because, yeah, as you were just saying there, Catherine, like some days he shows up and he's brilliant, and then other days, I don't know if he just doesn't care enough, or yeah, he just does. It's like he just doesn't want to be there.
I think Gilbert's problem is he cares so much that
Yeah,
it actually gets in the way of him doing anything.
Yeah. I think maybe you're right though, actually. I think because he always does seem genuinely very, can be very down when he doesn't perform very well. Whereas when he loses, sometimes I think he can be, if he's lost just because he got outplayed, he's quite philosophical, he's quite nice about it, he's okay. But when he knows he hasn't played well, he's really, really hard on himself.
yeah,
Yeah.
And the other thing about him as well is he's got this club now, hasn't he? And I was sort of thinking, is this going to maybe start? I mean, he could open up some more. Obviously, he could start a chain of them if he wanted to, I suppose. But I think that's good because we've been talking ad nauseum about the next generation and needing more snooker halls and so on. And maybe that's something for players to think about. Maybe doing something like that and bringing that level of expertise to the local communities and get people in.
It reminds me of what Willie Thorne did in Leicester and the way he helped bring players through. And I think it'd be a lovely thing for more top pros to do.
I mean, it seems like an obvious thing to do, isn't it? I mean, I mean, let's face it, if you're going down to, Potters, and you see Dave Gilbert there, you're going to want to talk to him to see, how he would, help you improve and stuff like that. So yeah, I mean, it's a bit of a no-brainer, really. But
it's one thing talking to a snooker coach or some rando off the street, but it's another talking to Dave Gilbert, the former ranking event winner, the man who was once a frame away from the world final.
And the man who's also got possibly the worst nickname in snooker.
I'm sorry, but the Angry Farmer.
I think he shortened it now, hasn't he?
His life.
I think he's actually just the farmer now, which is good. But I was like, what on earth was that about? Because I went to the Champion of Champions when he was in that, and they have like flags with the players' names, but they also have the nicknames underneath.
Yeah.
And so, because I didn't know, I mean, like Jordan Brown was there the other year, and I was like, the Antrim Ferrari. I was like, what? Is this a local thing that I don't understand? And I was just, I was just like, no, I don't think
Jordan
so.
Brown, I prefer the nickname that he had before he became big, Bomber Brown.
Which was
Bomber.
Farmer Brown.
Yeah.
Oh, you see, that's like the Angry Farmer, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
I
don't know where the Ferrari part came out of.
No, I don't. That's what I mean. I did wonder if this was like a Northern Irish thing, that maybe it was a slang term for someone who, I don't know, plays very fast, or
Yeah, maybe.
That's all I could think. But I don't think he's a particularly quick player.
No, I don't
No.
think so.
I don't know.
But Gilbert, I'm trying to find nice ways of putting it. Um, I'm going to go with depressive. Watching him can just be really depressing because you know he should be doing so much better than he is. It's so frustrating to watch. I was watching him at Worlds this year. I was there for the opening call session, so I saw him versus Bingham, the first session. And up until around the interval, Gilbert looked $1 million. He absolutely did. And then after the interval, he looked like he'd never seen a snooker table before.
Yeah.
It was weird. It was weird because I was hoping he'd win because I could get to see him then play because I didn't get to go early doors. But I saw him at the qualies and he just looks imperious every time he's there.
Yeah.
You just look at him and go, "Why are you actually here?" You know, it's
That's
crazy.
Yeah, and it's not like he's not interested in the sport because like he has opened the club, so he obviously does love the sport. So it's not that he doesn't want to be there or anything, I don't think.
Yeah, it's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
Joe Perry.
Oh, I love Joe Perry.
Mhm.
Yeah, Joe's very likable as well.
He's my second favorite Joe Perry after the guitarist from Aerosmith. But yeah, he's just I just love him. I love his commentary as well. He's
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very
does
good at
that
commentary.
so well. But yeah, I was so thrilled to see him winning again. It was just yeah. But he's another one that worries me as well because he seems a bit down at the moment.
Yeah, at the moment he does.
Yeah, I know he's suffering some sort of injury issue at the start of the season.
Mm.
Because you've been
But
playing about him Championship League.
I
But
think he's another one of the players, we talk about. Yeah, he doesn't seem to get the slating that Sean Murphy does when he commentates during a tournament that he's playing in, I noticed. But I think he's another one that's sort of got half an eye on what happens afterwards.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think, when he starts playing, he can sort of segue into, doing the commentary and the broadcasting and stuff.
And Perry, he's one of these who I think at this point his philosophy of commentary is I'm not getting any younger. I'm probably not going to win a major. He had a big chance in Masters a few years ago. Got a very good match to Ronnie. I'm probably not going to win anything major now. I've made a good amount of money in my career. He's one of these, I feel like he's very satisfied with what he's done in his career, and he's just trying to squeeze every last bit out now.
Yeah, yeah, that would probably make
Yeah.
But
sense.
in terms of in one word, it's funny we're talking about weird nicknames because Joe Perry might have the single most fitting nickname of anybody, Gentleman.
Yeah, it fits perfectly, yeah.
Yeah, you see, that's when snooker had like proper nicknames. The Thunder from Down Under. I love that. That's great. You should just. I think Rob Walker did a lot of the more modern one. I think he ought to just be given all the players nicknames and get them to do that.
Yeah, I do. But thing is, he is such a gentleman. Every time you hear him speak, he's not one of these ambassadors for a game.
Yeah, I think so. He does a lot of the Q zone stuff as well.
Yeah.
As well. So he's very good at that. Yeah, like you said, that engagement thing.
And he is, if not my favourite, certainly one of my favourite commentators as well. Various times when I'm not sure which match I want to watch, and I will stick with a match just because Joe is on commentary.
Yeah, he's very easy to listen to. He's
Yeah.
he's very, very good.
Very easy to listen to, very knowledgeable. I love Perry, honestly.
Yeah.
And I love watching him play as well because He's one of these players, it feels like you can see every nook and cranny of the technique. You can see every thought that goes through his mind.
Yeah.
Who's next?
Chris Wakelin.
Tough one.
I watched him win the shootout in January, and I kind of was wanting Julian to win. I must admit, I
Yeah.
was like, I love an underdog, and I love
Yeah.
the story of a young kid just coming out of nowhere, and he played just so well all the way through. But then Wakeland just came out, and he was just so solid. I think that's probably the word I'd use is solid.
Solid, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's got like everything, and he's another one that can go under the radar, but I suspect that probably suits him.
Yeah, and it's funny with Wakeland's shootout because you see he made a century in the final and think, oh, he may have dominated the event. He cheated death twice in the tournament.
He did, yeah.
You know, it was nothing short of a miracle break to beat Jack Jones. Michael White missed about 8 good chances against him.
Yeah. Yeah, it
He
was. Yeah, that was a
really
bit gutting.
cheated death twice.
But yeah, I think it's yeah, he's another one of those that sort of flies under the radar.
Yeah, he does. It's probably underappreciated a wee bit.
But we were so thrilled. Like there was a bunch of us there, and we were all just so happy when he won though. Because it's just nice to see someone different win. And yeah, you sort of think shootout is going to be all the Crash Bang Wallop players and obviously the annual Deshawat festival that it is.
Yeah.
But it's sort of nice when you sort of see someone who you think that's he actually, yes, he's won the shootout, which people have their opinions about whether it's a proper ranking event or whatever, because it is just a shootout. But at the end of the day, it's still a big win. But you know that he could also conceivably go on and win a inverted commas proper ranking event, one that actually requires you to win more than one frame at a time.
Yeah, I think even since that win, he has improved. He's definitely
Yeah.
improved since that. He's definitely up and coming, I think.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Wakeling, I feel like, is just waiting for the right moment to really break. I felt like this for a couple of years, actually. He's really just waiting for a moment to really break out.
Yeah, yeah.
But in terms of one word, I know it's hyphenated, but all rounder. He's one of these. Every bit of his game is good to great. There's no one thing to say he's exceptional at, but there's no one thing to say he's got any real issues with
Yeah.
other than consistency.
Yeah, consistent.
But you can say that's about nearly anybody at times.
Yeah, yeah. True.
Uh, Jimmy Robertson.
I think Jimmy's he's a strange sort of character, isn't he? Because you sort of think he always seems to have to work really, really hard for what he's done. Do you know what I mean? He always has to qualify. Sometimes he might even get in on a sort of a lucky loser or what. He's always really good to watch, and again he's another one that I never quite understand why
Yeah,
he's not
I think the
doing
word I
ranked
would
higher than
use
he
is
is, because
grafter.
yeah, that's what I mean. It just seems like
Yeah.
it's just that his career's been harder than it needed to be.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily think that's his fault, because he doesn't lack anything. He just, yeah, I don't know. It's just,
Yeah. I feel like hardworking would be a good way to describe
Yeah.
him. Yeah.
I feel like Jimmy Robertson really is someone who gets every last drop out of the talent he's got and more. Because with the greatest one in the world, I don't think his current ranking reflects how naturally talented he is. Because I think there's a lot of players lower down the rankings who have more sort of natural flair and talent for a sport than he does. But what they might like that Jimmy Robertson does is this sheer industriousness and this ethic he's got.
Yeah.
There's a will to get every last bit of his potential. And his rise back up the rankings has been nothing short of remarkable. Because remember, a year, 18 months ago, he a year, 18 months ago, he was on the verge of dropping out to the top 64. He
Yeah.
was absolutely in free fall. But
Hey,
he's recovered
can I chuck one out then? I'm really interested in this one.
yeah.
Tepchire, come on. We need to talk about Tepchire. I just think he's just wonderful. And I think he's another one like Noppon that everybody just loves, but he's just such a character that, oh my goodness, if you were invested in him, my goodness, you'd be rocking backwards and forwards in a padded cell, wouldn't you?
Yeah. He definitely puts you through the ringer anyway.
Again, he's another one I've seen at, at World Championship qualifying thinking you shouldn't be anywhere near this
Yeah.
place. It's like away with you. Go and be brilliant, and go and shine. And then you turn
Yeah.
up the next day and you're thinking, is this your twin who started playing
Yeah.
last year? Or it's
Yeah.
just,
Like if you had someone that never watched snooker before and you went to watch one of his games where he was on form, you'd definitely think he's one of the best in the world. Then other days he just no, he's not.
Yeah.
yeah. It's one of those that you can sort of sell to your mates as being, oh, this guy, watch this
Yeah.
guy. This guy's going to be the world champion. This guy's going to do that. And then he'll come out and he'll lose, 10-0 to some kid
Yeah.
from, I don't know, Lithuania or something. And you're just like, really? Really? It's just mad.
Yeah,
But I
you
think it's
watch
one of those
that
players
child
that,
good. You do watch that child good day and think, how does he not have all the trophies in the world?
yeah. But
And
he's
then
one of those players everybody's got an opinion on.
yeah, but
Yeah.
you watch him on a bad day and you think, how did he get here?
Yeah.
I think his rankings to reflect that.
Yeah, I know it's a bit strange, isn't it?
It's
Okay, can we
very
do Dominic Dale?
Pardon?
Can we do Dominic Dale?
In a moment, yeah. He's one of these touch he's 37th in world at the moment, but his ranking seems to dance between the 20s and the 50s, quite frankly.
Hmm. I think recently he is having, well, I have in my head that he's having more good days than he used to. He is playing a tiny, tiny bit more consistently. I probably looking at his results, that's not right, but I feel like he's small bit more consistent than he was.
Yeah,
He's snooker's renaissance man, isn't he? He's sort of becoming. Because I thought he'd pretty much all but retired a couple of
Yeah.
years ago, and he just was, and then he's just, oh, do you know what? I'm just going to go out and have a go, and maybe that's what it is. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's a
yeah, it
change of
really
attitude.
felt like he's just coasting a couple of years back. But
Yeah.
I think the word I'd use is haste. I don't mean because I think he plays too quickly for his own good. I've said this for a while. It's all well and good playing at a naturally quick pace, but I think Tapchaya plays so quickly that he just has this tendency to lose concentration.
Yeah.
He'll just
Mm.
play shot, get down and play shot without even thinking about it. The amount of times he mess up a simple positional shot because he just got straight down play the shot in 3 seconds rather than taking a moment to look at the balls. He's very frustrating
Yeah.
play to watch again. So Dominic Dale,
Very. I really like Dominic.
Mhm.
I don't know. I think it was yeah, it was in York last year. He was doing a Q&A, and yeah, he was brilliant. Just the insight he gives um into even just the shots he was playing and what players think and that he was very good, very likable.
Unique.
Yeah, unique. Yeah,
There's never going to be another one like Dominic Dale between his ever-changing hairstyles and haircuts, his
yeah,
fashion, and his offbeat personality, and his almost obsessive nerdiness over cues.
yeah. He's another one that I kind of like listen to when he's commentating as well. He does give a good insight into different shots that are being played, and yeah, he's good.
And Dominic Dale is my personal favourite commentator.
Yeah,
And Snooker's watched a lot of good commentators in amongst the players, but I think Dominic's absolutely fantastic.
yeah, he is. Yeah,
Speaking of commentators and players, Ken Doherty.
yeah,
You might be a bit biased on this one, Glenn, but
yeah. I, I love Ken, but that's to be accepted. Like he's just bit of a legend in Ireland.
It was another one that I thought had pretty much all but given it up, to be honest. And then all of a sudden, he just seems to be. He seems like he's fallen back in love with it again.
Mhm.
Yeah, he really does it. Like he's so enthusiastic about it. It's actually really good to see someone like that.
I always think of it like my word for him is always is kind of like pure because he just seems like such a lovely, lovely person. And
Yeah,
the
he
way he
does.
plays is very, very clean and it's just very yeah, he just seems just so happy all the time. Like when he just really, really loves the game.
Yeah, I think anyone that's met him, I actually haven't met him before, but I think he seems more than happy to interact with anyone that meets him. So that's another positive, I think.
Yeah, another really good ambassador.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'd say classy. I genuinely do not think Ken Doherty gets the respect he deserves as a player.
no,
No, I think he was sort of in the shadow, wasn't he, of
Yeah,
sort of Henry obviously at his best, but then he was kind of unlucky because he was sort of starting to sort of ascend, and then the class of '92 really kicked in.
mm.
exactly.
So
You
he was
look at
kind of in that gap between sort of Davis and Hendry dropping off, and Higgins O'Sullivan coming through.
Yeah, if you look at some
Yeah,
So,
the late 90s, early 2000s,
mm,
he was absolutely one of the elite.
mhm,
mm.
yeah, and you sort of watched him sort of win. Well, I mean, I watched him win the world in '97, and then obviously he was in the final the following year, and John Higgins beat him, and you just sort of there was almost a kind of like a changing of the guard moment almost, but then you sort of think to yourself, well, actually, they're not that dissimilar in age. It
No,
just felt like Ken was that bit older because he just seemed
Yeah,
to mature that little bit quicker. He just seemed to, yeah, he just seemed to be able to do that, but he was never really in that conversation. Even back then, he know what he's capable of. You know that he can easily win any
yeah.
given tournament, worlds down, at anyone.
And now, like he's doing so much TV work. Like he's like a breath of fresh air. To be honest, he's brilliant on the telly.
Yeah,
honestly,
even when he's putting the boot in a bit to someone and he's not being, yeah, he does it in the nicest
Yeah,
way.
it comes across nice, like in a nice way.
he's just a very good broadcaster.
Yeah.
But yeah, very classy player, Ken. One of the best in the world. I think he's actually the player, if I recall correctly, who came the closest to breaking the Crucible curse. Because I know it's him and Joe Johnson are the two first time champions who got to a final the next year.
Hmm. Hmm. The Crucible Curse, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
yeah,
think
definitely.
it's him who got closer.
He did. He did.
Yeah. Trying to find some more characters.
Well, you got Jimmy. You can always talk about Jimmy.
Yeah, Jimmy White, sorry. Well, we talked about Jimmy Robertson. Jimmy
We've
White.
done that.
Yeah.
Jimmy White. I love Jimmy White. I mean, Jimmy White, like, obviously, again, we're going back to me being Methuselah over here. Watching him in the sort of 80s and 90s, watching him losing all those finals and just, it was just, he used to be just sat there smoking a cigarette and just generally looking more and more stressed as time went on, and he put the cigarette down to go and take a shot sort of thing. And it was just very, it was almost like you were living everything with him.
Yeah.
You know, even when I was really young and obviously I wasn't quite as emotionally aware, I was just sort of like almost, I was like just willing him just to, you know, and even when he didn't have to face Stephen Hendry, he ran into, he ran into John Parrott.
Yeah.
Just,
And Jimmy White is a little bit of a miracle in a way because, and he'll say this himself, after all the hard living he was doing in his pomp, the fact he's still alive and still healthy is nothing short of a miracle.
yeah.
He'll tell you that himself.
Well, I mean, he's another cancer survivor, isn't he? He's had his health issues as well. But what I loved about him is the recent times he was in Leicester for the shootout, and he arrived in his Bentley with his beautiful girlfriend, and it was just like, this guy's 60 years old.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, he's got this gorgeous girlfriend, he's got this Bentley, he's just, he's coming in, everybody wants to shake his hand and have a photo, and it's just, yeah, it's
That's
just
the thing,
like,
in a way, he does remind me of an aging rock star.
yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. I mean, he used to
Snooker's
hang
Mick
out with the
Jagger.
Rolling Stones. Yeah, he was mates with mates with Ronnie Wood a lot, isn't he? He's
Yeah.
sort of, yeah, he has got that rock star quality. So he's Snooker's rock star.
Yeah, he's still box office. And you saw this actually got at the UK Championship last year, where he walked out for his match with Ryan Day. He, even with modern crowds, Jimmy White still has this certain aura.
Mm.
Yeah, he does. You certainly know when he's there, because I mean the crowd always just react to him anyway, even if he's just sat. But when we were watching the shootout and the studio was sort of overlooking it, and it was all very open plan. He wasn't behind in a glass box or anything. And so if the frame that was being played wasn't that great, or if it was two players that weren't getting the crowd G'd up or whatever, then we'd just start chanting Jimmy's name, and we just yeah, and he was doing that.
He's another one that seems to be so enthusiastic but still playing on. And it's good to see as well.
Oh yeah, his attitude is absolutely spot on, isn't it?
Yeah, it really is.
And the thing is, obviously, one thing I'm known for on Twitter is being a very vocal criticism of the invitational tour cards. But Jimmy White is one of these people I think is an absolute inspiration in that respect, because he and Doherty especially got their ITCs and decided what we're going to do with them is we're going to enter everything. It doesn't matter what the event is, where it is, we're just going to enter everything and we're just going to give it 100%. And he's seen last season where he is so well that he's actually on the tour through his own merits on an ITC now in his 60s. It's just absolutely inspirational, remarkable.
I think it's a good example of no pressure, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because there was no pressure on the two of them. They could just go out and just see how it goes, and know that they're going to be able to turn up the following week, whatever happens. And without being a bit too personal, I guess neither of them really needed the money, so they didn't really have to worry about that so much. And it was just, let's just see how it goes. And then you retain your card on your own merits. Must have been extremely satisfying.
Yeah, definitely.
And obviously, we've still got the dream of hopefully you'll qualify for a Crucible one more time.
Oh, I wish I can't see him being able to get
I
through.
can, but it will be a fairy tale.
But
It'd be class to see.
Can you imagine if he did? It'd just be, the place would just go insane, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Honestly, I think if he qualified for Crucible one more time, he might just call it a day after that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to be the person who played him, put it that way.
No. It'd be like being the away side of this Newcastle match. Newcastle home game. One for you, Catherine.
Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Matthew Stevens.
Oh, I knew you were going to say that. I meant to show him out and I forgot.
Of course, I was going to say Matthew.
Of course you were. Matthew Stevens he was like part of that. There was almost like this thing that I don't know whether you two are old enough to remember this, when the late Paul Hunter as well, God rest him, when he was there, and they were almost trying to get like a sort of boy band type of snooker players, like picking out. It's a bit of the lowest common denominator, but I guess it was a way of marketing it. Like they called Paul Hunter the Beckham of the Bays, and Matthew Stevens obviously being his best mate. He was another, young, good-looking lad, and they had a bit of a they weren't particularly laddie by society standards, but they were by snooker standards. They were like the young guns, and it's sort of seeing him now, it's like he's sort of a similar sort of age to myself, and it's just he's still going, he's still performing, he's still again, he's not, I don't think he ever reached his full potential either.
No, you're talking about like Paul Hunter, Matthew Stevens. This is where I wish I was a couple years older, because I am just old enough to remember it, but only just. Because getting snooker about 2004-ish.
Yeah.
The first match, I distinctly remember watching a match between Ronnie O'Sullivan and Paul Hunter, but I don't remember where that was. It may have been Masters final. But the first match that I distinctly remember watching most of was the 2005 World Final, Murphy and Stevens.
Mm.
And I remember how old was I then? I think I was 8 at the time. And I remember being so gutted when I woke up in the morning and found out that Stevens had lost.
Oh, bless you.
You think about it, just this young 8-year-old lad with, at the time, undiagnosed autism. I was just getting into snooker. Matthew's always been my favourite player, or up there. I've still got the dream that one day he will do something.
I think he's definitely more than capable of doing something. I think of all the players that from the sort of 90s, early 90s that are still going, I think he's probably the one for me that could.
Yeah, I definitely think he's one of the most rooms of upward trajectory, because he's still got a very high standard on his day. He just doesn't seem to quite be able to sustain it for the entire match anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, your loyalty to him is noted very much.
Yeah.
Still.
I mean, I even made a hashtag for him. In fact, technically, I think I've made 2, but who's counting?
God bless you.
Not me, apparently. But yeah, Matthew, I'd go with hilarious, just because every time he gives some kind of interview, it just feels like an event, because he'll just say whatever the hell he likes.
which is always good value.
Yeah. He's not one of these very laid back characters now.
Yeah.
Also, probably used to be an extremely good poker player.
Well, that's always a poker face in snooker is probably quite a
Yeah,
good thing to have.
yeah, he's a laid back sort of character. That's kind of he's likable as well.
Yeah, but we talk about his potential. Quite honestly, I don't think his career is ever the same after the death of Paul Hunter because
No, I don't.
it's hard to quantify just how close those two were. You know, by all accounts, they were absolutely so tight with each other.
Yeah, it must have been very tough for him.
Yeah, I mean, there's still images around of Matthew being pallbearer at Hunter's funeral,
Mm.
Mhm.
and obviously his dad had died a few years before that, Stevens, and after that double blow, I don't think he's ever quite the same.
But
Still good, but
I'm gonna say he's still playing to a high standard, so we'll see.
yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. He could pull out a Milkins or Perry style sort of comeback and well, maybe not comeback because they were always there and thereabouts, but he could just come out of nowhere like that and just chuck in a big win. I don't see why not.
yeah. I mean, he's world number 42 now, and I definitely think he's got the game to be in the top 32 still. You know,
Yeah.
his brave building this season, arguably of past seasons, so has arguably been the best it's been in a long time.
Yeah. Like when you see Joe Perry, like he's 25th, world rank 25 at the minute. Like
Yeah,
surely, Match, you can definitely get up to that standard.
it's actually, could you look at how Perry plays these days? Not necessarily his form this season, but how he's played in the past couple of years, and how Matthew plays, and you think, yeah, I think they're about the same level, to be honest. Not
Yeah.
top 16 level, but certainly 20s to 30s.
Yeah.
One character that's always interested me is Tian Peng Fei.
Mm. Yeah.
Okay. Expand.
One of these is very inconsistent. His form seems to change in the match itself. You know, I remember a match a couple of years ago at Crucible against John Higgins. He was absolutely dominant, and then all of a sudden, for no apparent reason, in the middle of the session, his form seems to take a sudden nosedive. I just do not get Tian. His form seems to vary in the match itself. It's
Yeah.
not
You
varying as
can
in,
never predict what's going to happen then.
yeah, I was a betting man, which I'm not really. I've always called bets on snooker, but I won't call myself a betting man. I would never place a bet on Tian.
I remember I do remember the match you were talking about, and it was almost like he'd almost talked himself out of winning.
Yeah,
It was
it's
kind of
almost like it is almost like he couldn't believe he was ahead
yeah,
Yeah.
and just completely blew up.
indeed. Are you going to do a score prediction for this afternoon?
Yeah. So Zhang
Go on.
9-1, do you say?
You are no, I was saying go on because I'm waiting for
Oh,
you
sorry, I thought you
to
said 9-1.
decide how much that Judd's going to get beat.
Uh, obviously, Trump is going to win. I'm sure of that, but I think Zhang will give him a bit of a scare. I'm going to go 9-5, but I'm going to say that the first session finishes 4 each.
Yeah, I'll go with 9-3 Trump. But yeah, I hope it's closer than that. But I just think he's going to be too strong, to be honest.
I think, yeah, I mean, I think he probably will win, but I like Phil said, I don't think it's going to be quite as easy as he thinks. I suspect that Jan will probably have a really good sort of. He'll either start really well or he might finish fairly strong. But I think overall, I don't know how consistent
Mm.
he's going to be. But again, he's one I watched at Qualies in Sheffield this year, and again, I'm sort of a bit. I'm surprised that he's got to this, he's got to a ranking final
Mm.
the way he's been. But all fair play to him. I mean, he's one that's dropped off tour, come back on tour, dropped off tour, come back on tour. He's like the ping pong player, isn't he? So
That's the thing. I mean, he dropped off tour in sometime 20 because he could easily. I think he only needed one win to save himself at World Qualifiers, but he didn't come to World Qualifiers because his wife had recently given birth to their first kid together. So he decided
all right, okay.
he's going to stay in China. Basically, from what I read yesterday, he's basically spent a year playing exhibitions and doing karaoke between frames, which sounds hysterical. Then bounced back, and honestly, Zhang is someone who's annoyed me so long. He is so talented.
Well,
For
maybe
so
maybe
many
today,
years,
maybe
he's
today we'll
waiting.
realize some potential.
Yeah. But I think he's going to come out attacking today. I think he's going to come out all guns blazing because, quite honestly, if he don't come out all guns blazing for this match, he shouldn't even bother because,
I was going to say I think he's going to have to.
yeah,
Yeah.
no one expects him to win. The worst thing he can do is try and out tactic Trump because I don't think he can. With great will in the world to Zhang, I think in the past 3 or 4 years, Judd has become too good a match player to be out tactics like that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, obviously I do
Yeah, like
think
if
Trump will
if
win. Gone.
sorry, yeah, if Trump's anything like he was in the last 4 frames against Higgins yesterday, it's going to be very hard for Anna.
He broke my heart yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
I was getting very excited. I had to watch it because I was working, but I was watching it I had the scores up. I was getting a bit I was getting a bit antsy.
Do not mention that match where we lost trouble calling Higgins a bottler.
No, no, that's a very brave thing to say.
Well, same with lost trouble. About half the comments I received completely agree with me, and the other half are basically calling me an idiot. Which, to be fair, is a good track record by my standards.
I was going to say I may have called you an idiot under my breath.
Yeah.
But that's just because I'm blindly loyal.
No, it's because he's too polite. You're too polite to not say anything to me.
Mm.
But yeah, I hope Zhang does come out all firing because if he's going to have a chance, he's got to get in quick, take advantage of any mistake, and score heavy like he can.
Yeah, like even like going into the second session tonight, maybe if it's a draw or maybe a couple of frames behind, but once it's close going into this evening session, you just hope that he'll make a good game of it.
Yeah, and the thing is, if he can nick the first couple of frames by attacking like that, if he can make a couple of 60, 70 breaks, you just wonder, might Judd be a little bit rascaled?
Mm.
Because obviously he's no stranger to social media, Judd. He'll be aware that every person and their dog expects him to win
Yeah,
uncomfortably. So if Zhang can nick first couple frames, you might think, Hang on, this might be tougher than I thought.
Mm. The way he finished off against Higgins, I don't think he'd be rattled. It'll take a lot to rattle him, to be honest.
If he plays like he did in Voswell Friends against Higgins, by all accounts, Zhang doesn't stand a chance
No, no,
because nobody would really.
no.
Apart from maybe peak Ronnie or peak Selby, someone like that. One of the top players in the world playing at their best.
Yeah, it'd even be hard to stop him, even at their peak. The way he was yesterday, there's not really anyone that would be able to stop that.
Yeah. Anyway, I know that Catherine needs to get some sleep, so I think that's where we're going to leave it for today.
Yeah.
So next week
I'm going to go and dream of Renaissance snooker players.
I'm going to go and dream Matthew Stevens winning matches. Lots of matches. I still maintain, and this is a Promise on podcast now, I've made some Twitter before, is a Promise on podcast now. If Matthew Stevens ever wins another ranking event, I will personally write a song, sing it, and publish it on YouTube, talking about how much I love him. That is my promise. You know what you need to do, Matthew.
You've got that. You've recorded that now.
Yep. That has now been recorded. It is going to be published. But yeah, next week we're going to be discussing the situation with players pulling out of Northern Ireland Open. The schedule issues involving snooker after stuff from Mark Selby. So I'm looking forward to talking about that, getting back to a big discussion. But until then,
Me too.
until then, Catherine, Glenn, thank you both for today.
Cheers.
Bye.
See ya.
Keep curing.